I turned it on. Yeah, testing. Testing. I didn't do anything. You did. Thank you. Okay. I just wanted to say I'm not late. I'm fashionably late. Okay. Okay. Everybody have a good week so far? Did I print out more? Okay. Okay, good. Thank you, Mike. Could I get a couple people to help me pass these out? Gavin, could you? Thank you. And thank you. Yeah. Need some more?
Do you have any more?
Yeah, I've got some more. Okay, thanks. Thanks, sir. You want? Just one or two?
One.
There we go. Okay. Everybody else good? Okay. Okay, Cindy, I was gone last week, and Bobby is not feeling well today, so he said he wasn't going to come in, but I thanked him for filling in for me. We were down in Kentucky last week. Our oldest son is moving, so we were helping him pack. So on the sheets here, I watched the lesson from online, and just wanted to go over a little bit quickly about what you guys talked about last week. Barriers to growth is this video, and I think the next video is more barriers. But what stood out last week, anybody can remember of the discussion? Anything? Okay, I wrote down a few things. Barriers to growth is what keeps your church from growing, of course. Matthew 22, he brought up the story with the lawyer that came to ask Jesus, what was the greatest commandment? And the lawyer said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Does that ring a bell from last week? Yep, okay. Then he talked about, I worded it differently. I worded it a self-centered church. Do you guys remember what he called it? A what? Second commandment church, right. And I know what he was trying to relay, right? The second commandment was your neighbor, and I think he was trying to relay your neighbor in church. And so the church just concentrating on the church, taking care of its own individuals, right? And that was that was a barrier. And why was that a barrier to church growth?
You don't focus on getting other people to come to the Lord.
Right. You're self-centered, right? You're always looking inward as a church. And so I kind of changed the name to a self-centered church, which is what I thought more. Cindy, do you have a one of these? Okay. Brenda, do you have one? Okay. Oh, I have another. Sure. Okay. Okay, so on the self-centered church, you remember anything he said about that? Anything stand out? What does a self-centered church do?
Stay in their comfort zone.
Yes. He mentioned comfort zone for sure. And I want to talk a little bit about that specifically. You don't reach out because it's not comfortable, right? You want to stay in your own comfort zone. He brought up Matthew 28, 19 and 20, which we talked about very first class before this, and he talked about our mission is to teach others about Jesus, right? Okay, so I thought a fair bit, about the comfort zone. How many of you have a comfort zone? Okay, so what are some things outside of your comfort zone? Yeah.
I'm not really big on physical touch or like hugs or things like that.
Okay, I appreciate that. Give me a hug. Okay, right. It's not. It's just not what you're.
It is not bad, but it's just like I kind of like, I have to like fight that feeling of uncomfortable.
If there are other things to do, you do those before you do that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Good. What else? Anybody? Cindy, I'll pick on you. What's outside of your comfort zone?
Kind of meet new people.
Meet new people. Mm-hmm. How many else is that? Meet new people. How about? Yeah, Judy.
I love to share the word, but I'm uncomfortable with saying, hey, would you like to study the Bible?
Yeah, just to start the conversation. Yeah. Frankie, Jim?
Public speaking.
Public speaking? Yep. A lot of people don't like that. It's not even out of their comfort zone. It's just, no way, right? What else? What else? You guys are quiet. Andrea? Any?
Talking in class.
Talking in class? Okay. Okay, so I won't call on you anymore. I'm sorry.
She really loves circles. If I get in a circle,
If I'm in a class and they say put your chairs in a circle,
she's out.
I check out. I'm
Okay.
gonna go, like, here we go. I have to really stretch to do that.
Okay. Okay, so here's why I'm talking about comfort zone. How many of us, and I'm including myself in this, by the way, too, don't do some things because it's not in our comfort zone? But Judy, you, right? Just walking up to somebody and say, hey, you want to study the Bible, right? How about actually studying the Bible with somebody? Is that in your comfort zone or a little bit out? Either way? Yeah, some are comfortable with it, some aren't, right? Okay, so okay, yeah, he's having some difficulties. Okay, so here's the deal. If we don't do things, well, let me start this way. How many of you do things that aren't in your comfort zone anyway?
I try.
You try, okay. How many of you have been forced to do things that aren't in your comfort zone? I mean, everybody probably raise your hand. Okay, a couple examples. You're at work, and your boss comes up and said, John Brown is sick. I need you to take over his place or do his stuff. And you say, I haven't done this stuff before, right? There's an example. How about driving in a snowstorm? How many enjoy that?
Yeah, it's you get a little adrenaline rush.
Yep, okay. When our kids were younger, we would all jump in the Astro minivans. You guys remember those? And we would drive from here to Kansas City, and probably half the time, Cindy, either on the way there or the way back, we'd run into a snowstorm. And there was one snowstorm where the kids were with us, and it just rained and froze, like flash froze, and semis right in front of us were jackknifing, and we had to get off. And you're driving white knuckle, right? Is that in your comfort zone? So, but here's the question. Do you still do it? If your boss says, I want you to do this, and it's not your comfort zone, do you still do it? Well, probably. If you're driving and the snow gets bad and it starts blowing and the conditions are bad, do you still drive to get home? So here's my point. And I'm saying this to myself too. Sometimes when we're in the church, we say, that's not my comfort zone. I don't really feel like helping to reupholster the chairs because I just don't like that, right? I'm giving an example. Or I don't think I want to man the video section, the audio video, because I just don't care for that. How many times do we say that when, if it weren't in the church, we might do it because we knew we should? Do you see where I'm kind of saying sometimes because we're in the church, we give ourselves a little bit of leeway and say, I'm not comfortable doing it, therefore I'm not going to do it. And I'm not saying that to shame any one of us. I'm guilty of the same thing. There are things that I just don't want to do, right? What I am saying is that I think as a church, when we start spreading our wings and inviting people here, and a lot of people already come, right, through Tuesday night Taco Tuesdays, and the clothing giveaway they're going to have, the pantry. We've had a number of other things. Remember, we used to have the trunk or treat. We used to have Wednesday night things for the church. It was an outreach. When we do those things, I think for me, I have to put on my hat that says, I don't know if I really want to go to the Wednesday night. I forget what were they called. Wacky Wednesdays, yes. I don't really want to do the Wacky Wednesday. Well, okay, maybe I don't, but should I? And the answer is yes, right? And it's not for everything. You can't do everything all the time. But I just wanted to bring that out as far as comfort zones. So what do you do if you're not good at something or you think you're not good at something? Public speaking. Who mentioned that? You did, didn't you, Frankie? Yeah. Public speaking. What do you do if you don't really care for it, but you may have to do it soon? Yeah.
Well, I think some of us are an eye, some of us are an ear, right? So maybe public speaking isn't what God has blessed you with.
Yep.
And trying to grow in that area isn't necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, maybe finding the way in which you're called to serve and really being dedicated to that.
Good. Yeah, perfect. Yes. And the point is exactly what Gavin said. There are things that you can try. Let's say public speaking, okay? If you have to do a public whatever, right? And you have to do it, okay. You practice at it, you try your best. But then you step back and say, okay, I did it. I wasn't the best, but I'm pretty good at this over here. So what do? You do this over here, right? You pick your best talents in the church to serve the church, right? And so that's where we can always complement each other, just like Paul talks about the body, right? And you mentioned it, right? Paul said we're not all an eye, we're not all an ear or an arm. We complement each other, and we do that by different capabilities, but also by encouraging each other, right? So if I'm not a public speaker and Gavin comes up and does a terrific job at the closing prayer, what should I do?
Let it close in prayer.
Yep, I'm going to come up and pat him on the back and say, that was really good. I really appreciated that, right? Encourages him, he grows, and I know he's good at that. I'm not, so I can do other things. And so I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that because it's really important if we're going to grow the church to know that, Judy, like you said, Judy isn't going to be the one to walk out on the street and say, hey, would you like to have a Bible study? Josh, little Josh he does that really well. I'm not going to do it like that. I couldn't either. That's not my forte. But you do find your forte, right? I like studying with people. So after Josh has maybe got some people to church and talked with them and said, would you like to study the Bible? And they say yes. Okay, then I say, okay, I help. But you know what you're good at and you continue to work at it. Yeah, Kevin.
In Corinthians, Paul, he says, I planted, talking of the church in Corinth, I planted, Apollos watered, but God provides the growth.
Good,
Some
perfect.
of us are planters, others are waterers.
Yep, very good. Did everyone hear that? Yeah. Yeah. Bob, did you? Gavin said.
I can say it louder.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
All right, in Corinthians, Paul, he says to the church in Corinth that Paul, I planted, Apollos watered, but God provides the growth. Some of us plant the seeds, and that's their gift. They'll say that's them being an eye, and others will water, and that's their gift, being an ear. And you really need both. But you understand that we're brought together, and that it's God that, through using both the planter and the waterer, that provides the growth.
And the planter and the water both have their own special talents, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say, I've been in services where people have not been comfortable, maybe a new Christian, have not been comfortable leading a prayer or singing a song or doing communion, but they do it for the first time, and it just warms my heart to see them. And usually they have something special to say. It's not the rote that you've heard 15, 20 years of your life. It's something new and something different.
Yeah.
And it's really blessing me when somebody will step out and
Yeah. Yeah.
stretch their
Their wings, right?
there you go.
Yeah.
wings.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good. Yeah, it is.
Very meaningful.
It is. It encourages you, and in turn, they grow a little more confidence every time they do that, right? Bob, yeah.
One thing we can do too is if there's something we think we might want to do but don't know how to do it, is find somebody that's really good at it and ask them to help teach you.
Yeah.
Just like Jesus taught the apostles for 3.5 years before he basically left them, and they were able to do work on their own.
Yeah,
I think
that's,
in the same way we as Christians, I mean, there's dozens of things we can do in the church, but if we even just pick out 3 or 4 there, and we know we're still not good at it, find somebody that is good at it, and let them teach you.
yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, that's a good point.
I have a scripture that really relates to Bob's point. Hebrews chapter 3, verses 7 and 8. It says, remember your leaders who spoke the word of God to you. Consider the outcome of their way of life and imitate their faith. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. And so when I read this, I think, consider the outcome of your leader's way of life and imitate their faith. So I know somebody who's really good at patience, and that's something that I fall short in. I should remember that person, consider their way of life, and try and imitate their faith, some of the things that they do. And that section saying Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever, I think it's imitate the aspects of Jesus that I see in this person, maybe even down to the specific traits such as patience or generosity. But yeah, looking to other people and trying to learn from them a skill that God has blessed them with.
Yeah.
Because very likely they got that skill by learning it from somebody else.
Yeah. And you're right. And you know, my bring a little bit of history in from my family. My dad was good at almost everything. Carpentry, mechanics, plumbing, you name it. He was good at everything, but not excelled in anything. And he would always say he was a jack of all trades and master of none. You guys have heard that before, yeah. And we can do that, but some of us aren't so good in so many things. We maybe really excel in a couple of things, right? So just however we need to be aware of ourselves and what we can contribute to the Lord's church and excel in it. And okay, enough on that. I'm going through here last week's. Okay, remember he said last week involvement is the key to growing the church base and personal growth. He covered 1 Corinthians 5:17, where it talks about we're ambassadors for Christ and we're co-workers with Christ. So what do you think when I say involvement in church? What comes to your mind?
With Indy number of things. There's hundreds of things to be involved in.
Yep. And I think he said this in the video too. I mean, as elders, we've talked about this a lot too. When someone is baptized, and a young Christian or a Christian that already is, someone's already a Christian that starts attending our church, one of the things you want to try to do is get them involved, right? Because when you're involved with the church, you become associated, and it becomes kind of a second, I don't want to say this wrong, but kind of a second nature to be with the people in church. Does that make sense? We've got some people that are pretty good at I mentioned the chairs, at working on the chairs. Some of them sew the backs of them. Some of them take the chairs apart. Some people put them back together. And so there's all different talents. I couldn't sew the seats, the fabric, but the ladies that sew the fabrics, they probably couldn't take the seats apart, right? So we work together. And it's important for us to get people involved, and that's where I have a note to myself. I kind of put, it's on 3E2. It says we need your help. So we can't always recognize people that would really benefit from being involved in church. You're pretty new, right? And we'd love to get you involved. You're already jumping in and getting involved in things. But if there are some people that are fairly new to the church, and let's say they're kind of quiet, what do we have to do? We need to get them involved in something. Is there something they like to do? And that's where you guys all come into play too, because Judy, if it's a lady, can talk to her and gets to know her and says, hey, what do you like to do? And she says, I really love to vacuum. Okay, we got a job for you, right? And it helps her feel useful, it helps the church, and it helps her grow, and it helps the church get to know her better too. So that was just an example. I thought two hands, but Gary?
Oh, you were just talking about the upholstery and stuff. And this month, I'll set a date for next month that we can go ahead and
Do that, yeah.
we need to do that. We've got several that are ready to go. So.
And I'm glad you brought that up. The last time we did it, Spurthy and Vishal came, and they had never done it before, but they did a tremendous job. They just did a tremendous job. And so, oh yeah, got to know them better, and they both said, hey, when you're going to do this again, let us know. So it's kind of a win-win situation, right? But the elder, I'm going to say the leadership, doesn't always recognize where those people are or what they need. So when we fall short, it's on everybody's shoulders, I guess is what I'm saying, to grab those people. Yeah, Judy.
When, after Denny and I were married and we worshiped at a congregation in Nashville, the elders came up to us and said, what would you like to do? Can you teach fourth grade? So they came to us.
Yes.
And they said, hey, we can use this or this, what would you like to do? So we started teaching fourth grade on Wednesday nights. And then when we moved back to Toledo, the minister came up and said, okay, what can you do? Can you do this? Can you do that? And immediately they got us involved in something in the church.
Yeah. It's important. And we try to do that, but once in a while, if there's someone that we've missed, we're whether we're short-sighted, we're busy, whatever the case is, we want to be sure we get those people involved in something. We used to, let's see, some of you here, Bob, you and Peggy will recognize it. A couple, Cindy and Brenda will. We used to have ministry fairs, and we would have it down in the auditorium, and the deacon, and Andrea, I see you're shaking your head, the deacon of a specific ministry would be responsible for setting up a table, making flyers about what that area does specifically, and where they need people to help, and it was really cool. And the ministry pair, and then in those ministry fairs, we'd have little cards that said, what would you like to do? What are you interested in? And maybe we should have another one of those. And that really, I think that worked pretty well. It got people at least involved in acknowledging, hey, there's a lot of things here I can do. And asking them is additionally icing on the cake, right? Because when you go up to somebody, if I go up to you and say, we really need help with this area, and you say, just not very good at that, okay? And I don't leave it there. I say, oh, well, what about this? I'm interactively impressing on you that I am interested in you and I would like you to help us, right? So it makes a difference on how you can approach it. Yeah, Judy.
Well, if you're going to be growing, it might be to do that every year, once a year do that.
Yeah.
Because hopefully in a year you'll have 10, 15, 20 more people that can sign up.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people that will hesitate and won't necessarily do it. And that's again where we as a group can encourage people and say, hey, I saw you're good at vacuuming your floor, right? Would you like to do that at church? I'm just using that as an example, but yeah, right, you go ahead,
I
Kelly.
think I have been a part of leadership teams in the past where we, as the leaders and the elders, will have the entire congregation, all of the visitors, and we'll just pray for them individually, one-on-one. And not exactly we'll divide up like, oh, these are your people you're responsible for, but like you kind of have the people that you gravitate towards and like, oh, and you're getting to know the people, not just putting out a blanket statement, but there's a job that needs done and we need to get it done. I think there's a time and a place for that, but I'm building a relationship with this person and I find out what this person is passionate about. What changes does this person maybe want to see in the church?
Yeah.
And if you talk to people long enough, you ask them, hey, what are you passionate about? What do you want to see change here? What do you want to see grow? They'll come up with an idea on their own, and then you're kind of fanning their fire, and then
Yeah,
they'll
right.
kind of take care of it themselves, and it's not so much trying to convince them to do something. They're, at that point, kind of the main motivation, is they're on fire for the Lord at that point.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
got to be careful. You don't want a bunch of crazies doing a whole bunch of crazy things.
Weird
but-
things, but yeah.
But like I think that's
There's
I've
balance
found
to
is
it.
a much better approach is praying for individuals specifically, and just asking God, okay, what do I know about this person? Doing deep conversations and just ask him, hey, what do you want to see happen here? And not in a like that's more of a one-on-one thing. We can talk here in a big group and it's great and we can have ideas, but I think maybe finding the people who are a little bit further out, asking them that and kind of taking their ideas in. I don't know, I'm rambling. But
No, I think they're good points, very good points. The bottom line is we take an interest in the people here, right? And when someone takes an interest in you, you recognize that, right?
It's not necessarily what do we want, but it's as leaders in the church, I think we should be servants. And how can we help our congregation pursue the Lord, right? And
Right.
so can we support them in their goals? As long as they're not sinful and wise goals, we can also be there to kind of give wisdom and guidance in that way.
Yep, yeah, very well said. As elders, deacons, preacher, we are servants of the Lord to serve the church, right? That's Bob.
Well, sometimes I do this myself. I have to say, how important is the church in my life? Is it worth spending several hours a week, a few hours a week of my life doing something for the church? And, it has to do with how committed are we. And, if it's important to us, we'll find some time to do something. It doesn't have to be anything outstanding or great, but if we really love the church, do you think we would want to try to find something to do to help the church be strong, grow? That's what
Okay, yeah, real good. Good points. And do you remember what the gentleman with the video said about the base, growing the base? That's kind of why we're talking about this. Growing the base is getting people involved, right? Talking with them, caring for them, growing relationships, helping them grow as Christians and become a part of the church and actively doing things in the church too, helping them grow personally in their Christian walk. All of that is building the base. And it's going to be difficult for us to reach out much if we haven't got a solid base here. So encouraging each of us, encouraging each other. And I know we talked about prayer partners. The elders have been talking about that, and we've been working on that. So just to let you know, we haven't just let that go by the wayside. Bobby is going to be preaching us a few lessons on prayer. And so what we're hoping to do is that the lessons will help the congregation become a little more aware of prayer, why we do it, how we do it, when, where, all those things. And then we want to encourage people in their prayer lives. Now, that doesn't only mean prayer buddies, prayer partners. It may mean that you are prayer partner with your spouse, right? You both agree, we're going to pray for these things. Maybe you write them down on a whiteboard, and those are the things you pray for every night, every morning. Maybe it's just a friend that you know, or maybe it's a collection of friends that you're involved with in something, and you say, hey, after church, and I think some of you guys have been praying after church. You do that, and that's your trying to pray. And the point being is that we are trying to grow in our prayer lives because that's one of the things that's so important in talking with God, right? And it's also what this gentleman is bringing home is that if you want to grow, you don't just grow by yourself. You've got to ask for help, and you've got to depend on God to help you grow. Okay, so Kevin, can we watch the next section of the video then? That kind of wraps up what you guys talked about last week. Yeah.
He talked about that Purdue experiment too, as far as expanding classes by adding new classes.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that was a very, very valid point.
It was, and I want to say one thing I thought about that is that when you expand classes, you've got to have the people to lead those classes. And that's, again, where we come about in helping ourselves grow and to grow that base, right? I might say, Denny, would you like to lead a class, right? Or Denny might say, hey, you know what? I really think that we could use a class over this subject and it would help a lot of people, right? So we're open to those things. So those are things that I think if anybody thinks or believes a specific class would be good, hey, come talk with us, right? Let's do it. Again, Bob, we've kind of had not difficulty in getting teachers, but they haven't been knocking on our doors necessarily. Some difficulty, yeah. Yeah, we've had some.
I'll just say there's a reluctance sometimes because we run into just what you've been talking about. I've never taught a Bible class. I don't think I can do it. You can put two people together. I mean, we can accommodate people if they're willing to really to do it. But right now we're getting by. But we combined a couple of classes because we just didn't have enough teachers. And that's today. We don't have enough Bible class teachers.
Right, and that's...
And for the adult classes, we also sometimes have difficulty finding enough men to teach Bible.
Yeah, for sure. Adult classes, for sure. I think the reason, this is just my personal view, for not having as many people want to teach adult classes is, you tell me if you agree with me, most people are going to say, gee, how am I going to teach a class? Because part of the audience out there, I perceive they know more than I do about the Bible. So who am I to teach? Anybody ever felt that way? Yeah, right. And you have to kind of get over that. What Bob said is if you think you'd even try teaching, there's there's a number of us that you could teach with, right, and co-teach. And so that's a perfect way. It kind of gets you into the teaching mode. It helps you see if, hey, this is something I can do, or no, I just can't do that, right? And try to go from there. Yeah.
An idea could be of the men who feel competent in teaching. Maybe they pick one person who's maybe not so skilled or confident, but somebody that they are intentionally trying to build up so that they can feel more equipped to teach in the future.
Right.
And it's maybe you will have less classes now, but you're building them up so that there can be more in the future. And then the process continues. You find somebody else, and then the person you just trained can find somebody else.
Yep. I was going to hit a story on that, but okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you use the word teach, that sounds like I know more than who I'm talking about. So take away the word teach and maybe say moderate or lead a discussion or ask questions or
Lead a class.
and then
Yeah.
Maybe provide the material.
Yeah.
If you just ask somebody, I want you to teach this class on Hebrews, and teaching, that's crazy. I'm not a teacher. But if you ask them to lead a discussion on Hebrews and give them some material, maybe people will step out of their comfort zone and try it.
Yeah, hopefully. Typically, we don't ask someone, hey, will you just teach a class? Unless we know, and not providing with much background, unless we know that's what they like to do. There are some teachers that you say, hey, would you like to teach? And they say, absolutely, and I know what I want to teach. Right? So that's great, but not everyone's that way. So in that case, yes, and there was a young man that was going to help me teach this class, and he's not taught a lot, so I was thinking, hey, it's a good time for him to just jump in, right? It didn't work out, he couldn't, but that's the thing that we do try to do, and it is helpful. And again, other ideas. Bob, you had your hand up.
Well, and if somebody's going to teach a class, they do have to have some basic knowledge of what they're going to teach. And have some skills in a way, because if the class drifts off into an area where maybe, maybe it's not even getting into scriptural comments, you've got to know how to deal with all of this as a facilitator or teacher. And not everybody can be a teacher. I mean, we realize that. Not everybody has different talents. We know that.
Yep.
So we don't expect everybody to be a Bible class teacher. But we do notice that when we see a member that's been a member for 20 years, and we know they know the Bible very well, we would hope that they would be willing to teach. But it doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
We can go back 20 years ago. There were members that knew the Bible well, but they just were afraid to get up and teach. But they knew the scriptures really well. And that was disappointing, because we know they could have taught a class really well.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what I'm thinking about, more than just trying to take somebody that's a novice and say, we want you to get up there and run a class.
Right. And that's a good point. It's harder for us to know if somebody's never taught, to know that they would like to teach, right? I mean, we can ask different people, but if there's someone that would like to teach, we certainly would, and who hasn't, a novice, I think is what you said, we would certainly pair them up with somebody. It's kind of what we do when people join the church. What we do to get them involved in the general assembly is we'll first ask them to help with communion, right, passing out. Well, that gets them up there, gets them doing things with other members, right? And then the next step, once they've done that, is we ask them, would you like to lead a prayer? And then once they've done that and they're comfortable with that, then the next step is, would you like to lead the communion thoughts? So we kind of progressively give them step by step, and that builds their confidence, right, up, and then it also builds their knowledge up and how to serve. So those are some things we do, but what brought this all around was, Denny, what you said about the ministry system, right? He called it the ministry system, I think, is when he was talking about that. Okay, good thoughts. Any other thoughts before we do the video? How much do we have left in the video, Kevin?
10 minutes.
Okay, Okay, we'll do the video, and then we'll wrap up with a couple comments, and I think we'll be done then for today. Next week, we'll hit number 4. Before that, I wanted to say something, is that the intent of this class is not just to listen to this guy and learn, it's to prepare us to be more evangelical, right? If you want to use the right word. To prepare us to be able to talk to other people about Christ and to grow Christians. That's the ultimate goal for that. Again, it's Matthew 28, 19 and 20. Okay.
To the church. A great barrier is our failure to involve people. Our failure to involve people. The best shepherding program I've ever found out about is a shepherding program that is just simply involvement. I still go to places, and one of the first questions that's asked to me is, Ben, do you know of a good shepherding program? Most shepherding programs that I've heard about die out in a matter of 2 or 3 years. They absolutely begin to fail. But where you have involvement, people are shepherded and things really happen. Now here's what I mean. In 2 Corinthians chapter 5, 17th verse, we are called co-laborers with Christ. We are called ambassadors for Jesus Christ. And one of the best things that we can do is get people involved. They become ambassadors, they become co-laborers, and they are faithful to the church, and they are usually faithful to different kinds of evangelism. But the failure to get them involved absolutely shortens the base of the church. Now, some years ago, I heard of a term called the ministry system. And many of you have heard that term, and it is a good one. It means that ministries are carried on in the church, usually through deacons, supervised at least somewhat by elders, and those ministries have people working in them to carry out certain functions in the church, and most of the congregation is involved. I always thought that's a good way to have deacons doing what deacons are supposed to do. They're supposed to serve, not just sit on a board and vote, but they are to serve. And so we begin to make our deacons ministry leaders. There were times in the ministry of the churches I served that when somebody placed membership or someone was baptized, a person was waiting there for them, and that person would say, here is a list of ministries in our church. Would you like to pick out 3 that you feel like you are interested in? And they might check off 3 of them, and then the head of those ministries would come and call on them, and those people would start working in ministries even as new people in Christ. And if they didn't like the way it worked in one ministry, they had the privilege of trying another one, but we kept them serving in the ministries of the church. Now I want to impress you with how I was really up on everything that took place in these ministry systems. I just want you to see that I really knew what was going on. I went all over the country one year, and I would refer to the church I served and say it had 66 different ministries in it. We came to August of that year, and we had one Sunday that was a ministry fair. We have a large community lobby. We set out tables for every ministry in the church to have a display. I went in on Saturday and counted the tables. We had 66 ministries. Strangely enough, we had 104 tables out. Our ministries had grown that many in a few months, and I wasn't even aware of the growth. You may say, did that shock you? Yeah, it did, but it was a good shock. It meant that I didn't have to have my finger on everything. People were carrying out the work that was assigned to them. Now that ended up being too many ministries, and for organizational correctness, we found it necessary to blend some of them together, and that even worked better. But you can see that almost everyone in the church was involved, and involved people stay with you. Ken Blanchard is a guy that is well known as a speaker on management. I happened to go to a conference, a Christian conference, where he spoke one time, and Ken Blanchard had just been a Christian 2 or 3 years at that time. But he told this story. He said that he was going on a speaking engagement. His wife took him to the airport, let him out in front of Southwest Airlines. He got out and she drove off. He got inside and found out that he had no photo ID with him. His wife was like my wife, I guess. She never had her cell phone on. He couldn't call her. There was not time to take a taxi to his house and get back. But an idea hit him. He went to the gift shop. Sure enough, there was one of his books with his picture on the back of it. He bought the book and took it up to the ticket counter of Southwest Airlines. He said to the guy, "Hey, I left my photo ID at home, but this is my picture. I am Ken Blanchard. Can you get me on an airplane?" Now, this was before all the security that we have today, but there was still plenty of security then. The man behind the Southwest Airlines counter threw up his hands and yelled, "Hey, folks," said, "we have a guy that's well known with us, a celebrity. His name is Ken Blanchard. Put him in first class." Well, Southwest Airlines didn't even have first class. But the guy came around soberly and said, "Mr. Blanchard, I realize you have a problem. You follow me, I'll get you through security, and I'll get you on that plane." And Ken Blanchard said that he was seated on that plane with his seatbelt buckled before that guy ever left him. But he said coming back was on a different airline. And he allowed 2 hours to catch his flight. He did make it, but he was sent from one office to the next. Nobody seemed to be able to make a decision. He said, what was the difference? He said, Southwest Airlines, within certain guidelines, gives people the authority to make decisions. He said the rest of them didn't seem to do that. And he stopped and he looked at all of the elders and deacons that were present, and he said, "Gentlemen, isn't there a lesson somewhere in there for the church?" He's saying, really, involve people. They will need help, but involve people. Get your best shepherding program. And I'm down to my last point. The failure to pray is a top priority in this. I took a little church and I wanted to get it involved in benevolence. I thought, we'll start a food pantry. And I thought that was really needed in our county. I went up to the county seat and I said, our church wants to become a licensed food pantry. You see, when you're licensed, stores can give you food to give away, and they can take a tax break on it. It's up to them to keep the records, not you. But I wanted us to be a licensed food pantry. We were just a little church, and there was a sarcastic answer. We have too many food pantries in this county already. We're not giving out any licenses. I left downcast. But I have a way of fighting that. I went back and called the church together to pray about it. And we agreed to pray for a week, to fast in prayer. It was our first experience at fasting in that church. We didn't do a very good job of it, but we fasted and we prayed. we sent one of our elders back to the county seat. He said, our church wants to become a licensed food pantry. The answer was, good, we need more of them in the county. He was back with a license in 45 minutes. Now that just happened to happen when the church came together and prayed and did some fasting and asked God to enter into it and help. And God does enter in and help when those things come about. Yeah, pray for what you're doing, and God bless you.
Okay, we kind of talked about some of those items that he mentioned a little ahead of time. But I did want to say, we all have our own prayer lives. Based on the whole series here, let's pray for God to help us grow this church. Keep that in your prayers. And if we want to have, if you have prayer buddies, prayer partners, if you have prayer groups, we're going to probably send out some more announcements, right, Bob, in the bulletin and try to encourage some of that. And we're behind it at 100%. But let's keep God for sure in what we're trying to do. And if you see somebody, or if you're not involved in something and you'd like to be, come see any of us, and we would be. Okay, any comments, closing? Yeah.
We should put the advice to pray into practice. I think maybe we can stay after tonight a few minutes and get in small groups and pray.
If you'd like to, if you want to stay after, if you want to maybe just form little groups, or if you just have a couple of you want to go off and pray together. If you can't and you don't have time, that's fine. We understand. So that's a very, very positive thing. Any other comments? Thanks, Kim. Okay. If there's any of you that feel like you could be doing something or want to do something, and you don't really want to raise your hand and jump up and down and say it, just at any time, for anything, you can always write a note and just drop it in the box back there. Okay, we will see those. Closing prayer.
Clint?
Yes.
Got a couple announcements if you're...
Yes. I skipped right over the announcements, didn't I?
What's the plan for next Wednesday? Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve, next Wednesday. I believe we were going to cancel it. Is that right, Bob? Yes. And that way, it's mixed, because some people really like to go to church before Christmas Eve, right? It's just kind of a customary for some people. Other people are going to have family in and would want to just spend it with their family. So we just said for this time, cancel. So
let me put out this invitation. We are still on Tuesday nights going to meet here at the building.
Okay.
And do our Taco Tuesday.
Okay.
So if we're not going to have a Wednesday service, anybody that would like to come on Tuesday and have some tacos with us and have a little devotional, the invitation's open to whoever'd love to join us.
Thank you. That's actually great, because that settles both situations, right? You're not, Christmas Eve, you're not somewhere where you might have family, and the day before would be a perfect time. Thank you. And what time?
We start at 7.
7. Okay, 7. We should, should we put that in the announcements? You want to put that in?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
We can do that.
You want to do that?
We need to,
Just,
we need to have people that aren't normally on Taco Tuesday that are coming to let us know, so we can plan for enough food.
that's a good point. Do you want to talk to Penny, and so she puts, or I'm sorry,
We'll just make a little extra.
I'll
Laura?
make a Taco Bell run if we really need to.
We'll just make we'll have a little extra available next week, and it'll be great.
Okay, or we could actually put in the announcements that if you plan on coming, bring a dish too. That way you wouldn't have to be burdened, and you don't know how many are going to be here. So, okay, you want me to do that, or are you going to do that? You're going to talk to Laura?
I'll say something to Penny. I'll shoot something, I'll shoot a message to Penny and to Laurel to see if we can get it in the
Okay.
bulletin and an email.
Cool, and you can word that best. Okay, cool. Thanks, Mike, that's great.
Um,
Any,
Can I dominate announcements for a second?
yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, the Wednesday, next Wednesday's Christmas Eve, so we're not meeting. The Wednesday after is New Year's Eve. And I believe we're gonna be having a little New Year's Eve gathering party here at the church. More
Okay.
announcements will be coming about that, but if you're looking for New Year's Eve plans, know that there's gonna be a small group here, maybe a big group, that would love to have you be part of it.
Now, do you want me to talk to Laura and put that in?
That'd be great, yeah.
I'll just generically give it to Laurel. I'll give it to Laurel to announce generically, and then we can do specifics later, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
One more, if that's okay?
Yeah,
All right.
keep going.
Our giving tree is up out in the foyer out there. Sunday is the day that we asked for all the presents to come back. So if you took, I guess we had mittens out there, we had little ornament balls out there, and there are stars out there right now too. If you took one of those to supply a child with Christmas, please bring that back wrapped with the tag on it Sunday. And if you haven't picked anything up yet and you would like to, we were given another family earlier in the week. And so I believe there is a boy age 7 and a boy age 9 maybe out there. That if you would like to take a little, it's stars right now, a little star off the tree with some gift ideas, that would be great.
Okay, how about right after church, you and I get together too, and we can figure out, that might be good for a penny email spread out, right? So people
Yeah,
know
Peggy has
before
put it-
Sunday.
Peggy's put it on Facebook.
Yeah,
One of our families took, I think there was a 3-year-old boy, took all the gifts for him and said, we're gonna sponsor this child personally. And so there's 2 more kids out there that we are looking for people to do something for.
okay. How about if we get together afterwards? Yeah, that's good. If we get that to Penny and she puts it in the email, at least that'll help get a little more visualization, more visual for people. Any other announcements?
Yes.
I have one. Okay, Randy.
So,
Oh, LTC.
well, that's one,
Okay.
okay, but that's not really the ones I want to talk about right now. The first one is regarding Judy Black's funeral. That's not been scheduled yet. The family is working that out. It'll probably be sometime the week after Christmas or the first week in January that they make the final arrangements. So that'll be coming out on Facebook, and of course Kathy Simpson will be letting us know what those are going to be. Another thing is we have a prayer request from Kathy G. She's going to be having a heart catheterization, double stents on December 30th, and she would appreciate all our prayers. So, Clint, I sent these to you in a text, so you have them.
Oh, you just did? Okay, good.
Yeah, so
I see it.
So anyway.
Thank you.
Again, with regard to Judy Black's arrangements, it sounded kind of like they might be here, although that hasn't been decided yet. And I think their inclination is to have Lynn do the funeral, so they're going to be talking, well, they've been talking to him about that. So,
Okay.
at any rate, more to come on Judy's funeral. We'll know either toward the end of this month or the beginning of next month. And the funeral will probably be in, the last or next to last week in January. Depends on when they can get all the family members together here.
Okay, cool. And Randy, are the forms for LTC still out there?
Yes, we
Okay.
have the forms. Students to sign up for LTC out of the foyer. we'd like to get those, filled out this month if we can, so we can get all those turned in, for the events that, young people, want to, participate in. And, there'll be more to come on this, later. But, yes, all the, registration forms for the students are out of the foyer.
Okay, thanks, Randy. Let's see, I had one more. Brenda, who all helped you yesterday with the, Brenda headed up this year the Christmas gift baskets. And those were made up yesterday. You did it.
And you and Cindy and Abigail.
Abigail, that's to us. And then
Bonnie and Mindy and the other person I don't know.
Bonnie and Mindy. Who was the other person? I don't know. Oh, okay, it's okay. Okay, anyway, that was a neat thing, just to let you all know that Brenda coordinated that and sent out, I don't know, how many baskets did you say, 17 or 19? Okay, so quite a few. Okay, good job on that, thank you. Gary?
I went and saw Butch last night, and I mean, really, to be honest with you, I was there for Pam. Even though I spent a lot of time just holding Butch's hand, I mean, he's not coherent at all, as far as I know. I mean, he tried, but couldn't make out what he was saying.
What are you saying?
But, you know, Andrea and I plan on going back tomorrow and bringing a meal for Pam, but this is a really good time for the church to, I mean, if anyone has a little extra time, to go over there and encourage Pam, you know, just showing our love.
Yeah.
And, you know, they've been absent from the church from some time, and, you know, maybe, you know, showing our love this way too would kind of help bring her back.
Yeah, good point. I know you guys have been really good about going to visit them pretty faithfully. So, and they've had other people too, but you guys have been really good about that. So, yeah, it would be good to visit them. I don't know how much longer Butch will be here. So,
It's only days.
yeah. So,
If it's that long.
yeah, if you have the inclination to visit, it would be great. If you do, I wouldn't put it off. If possible, do it as soon as you can. Also, pardon?
Be sure to call when
Good
they
point.
get there.
Be sure to call.
I went over there and it was not a good time.
Okay. Be sure to call, and I don't know, they do have the take a meal thing set up, so if you're taking a meal to them, be sure to call, and then that's a good time to visit with them too. So thanks, Gary. Good point. Yeah. Good thoughts. Okay. Any other? Yes.
I was just gonna say thank you to Amber and Gary for going downtown today and taking the rest of our warm clothing that everybody's been donating and giving it away to some of the homeless and needy people downtown. They were able to get rid of everything today, and I just think it was really awesome of them to work on that today.
It was. Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? That's building this church base, right? That's doing the things that make a difference in the community. All these things are. Cindy?
Brenda and Andy came home today from the hospital.
Oh. Okay. And Cindy, do you want to give any update on Emmett? Emmett? Huh?
My nephew,
Yeah.
that's been battling cancer, been in the hospital a lot this past month, and he's currently in the hospital. He's had different procedures, spot found on his lung, and so just keep praying for him, because he's lost weight, he has a feeding tube now, and he just needs prayers to get stronger so he can keep doing his treatments.
If you'd see his pictures, he's very, very fragile. That'd be a good word, right? Okay. Anything else? Denny, would you like to say the prayer for us? Okay. Here, let me get you this.
Pray with me, please. Father, we just thank you for this time that we've had to talk about growing your church. Father, just be with each one of us. Help us to focus on that. Help us to spend time in prayer and talking with you about that. And also help us to look around and with our eyes open, the people that we can bring in and encourage to have a closer walk with you. Father, we're mindful of Butch's situation. Butch and Pam, just be with them. And appears that Butch has just got a few days, and or maybe not even that long, but just be with the family and bless them right now and watch over him. We also lift up to you Brenda Hamby, and just be with her. And I know she has been struggling and had pneumonia, and Judy got a message that maybe she's going to be able to be coming home, but just continue to pray in that situation. Be with Kim as she's out in California with her family, and be with Colin as he goes through treatments. And they're just, Father, just help us to be aware of the needs. Thank you for the clothing that was passed out, and just help us in our efforts, Father, to broaden the base here at Center Road. We just thank you for loving us. Thank you for putting your Spirit within us, and help us to stay in step with that Spirit, Father. And we just give you all the praise, the honor, and glory through Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, sir.